Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Velvet, the metaphysician, here with Table Talk, your podcast that's dedicated to massage therapists and other practitioners that are wellness practitioners and love absolutely what you're doing. As a practitioner for over 30 years, and I started in the medical field and then went into holistic, I understand the aches and pains that we feel. I understand what it feels like to be book solid but still broke. I also have learned a lot when it comes to structure. This morning, this is going to be an important conversation to have because I was sitting there talking with my husband this morning and I said, I feel this level of frustration when it comes to practitioners, when it comes to building their business. I said, it's not that they don't know what to do. They're great therapists. And he says, but you've been sharing all along and you're on the right track. And he says, let me give you an example. So I'm going to share what my husband shared with me today, and maybe it'll make some sense with why this is so important to me because it really is. I mean, I am dedicated in helping therapists to have the kind of life that they really want to experience. So we're having the conversation, and he says, well, it kind of reminds me when we met with Tenant, and everybody was upset at Tenant and wanting them to grow faster. They wanted them to implement these programs. And Tenant was saying to them, look, guys, we've got to build this brand new building, and we need to build it wide and deep because as we build it wide and deep, it allows us to grow above. So, what they were saying is that if we just build this ground level, we're only going to be able to make this 2-story high because the structure underneath us is not going to support future growth. I mean, listen to that. Many of us are always hungry for more growth. And the way that we see that is more clients. But the reality of it is that a lot of times practitioners are not building the structure underneath them that supports them having more clients, and that's why more clients can't be there. The other thing is that the structure also does not prepare the therapist to build beyond the table. So any structure that we put into place that requires our demand, it's not a structure at all, and it's very volatile. So if we begin to build up, what happens? And that's what Tennant was saying. If we start building up and our structure can't support our growth, we're going to crumble. And we see that in practitioners all the time. They get to a certain level, and then once they go past that level, things begin to crumble. Here's one of the ways that I used to do it, and it might sound familiar to you guys because I think that many therapists will do this as well. Is that we start getting successful, we start growing, and we're doing all of this. And it's not that we get burned out, but now we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do with what we have because doing massage every single day and only making our money as long as clients are coming in is fragility. It's fragile. And so when we start thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't even know if I want to do this the rest of my life, and we do hit that burnout, what do? We quit, take a little break, and then we always want to jump back in. So I did that. It was like, oh, wow, I think I'm done. I think I've grown as much as I can. I'm done. And so I had a practice that was going, and I was having to get new places to put therapists in. It was just fascinating to watch it come alive. And I said, I'm selling this. I've hit my limit. I've hit the level of my level of success. I never really understood what I was saying to myself at that point. It wasn't until much later. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sell it. It's ready to go. It's a turnkey operation. And they did. They bought it. Now I'm living the life of luxury, but I still felt like I was missing out on something because I'm a person that loves helping people. I wanted to be in the community. So I opened up another practice. But this time when I opened up that practice, it was much different. It was a lot of meditation of building the structures and putting things into place. Now, believe it or not, when I decided to open up this practice, nobody knew about it yet. And I had two clients that had reached out to me, old past clients. Hey, are you still doing massage? I need work. I need to come in. And I said, oh my gosh, that's so funny that you're asking this because I'm looking at a building right now. That building was not ready for me to start doing massage. It was an old tanning station. There was a lot of work that needed to be done. They had taken all the doors down, all the light fixtures were gone. And I told my husband, I said, this is what we're going to do. He goes, what? What? How are you doing this? I said, we're doing it. I've got it already taken care of. So I said, come on out here after you get off of work so that we can take a look because some things need to be done. And my husband was devastated. He was like, oh my God, we're going to have to put lights in. We don't have doors. We don't have this. We don't have that. I said, I don't care because I've got two clients that already need to be seen. We're going to make one of these rooms a massage room while we're working on the rest of the building. And that's what we did. And everything flowed. But that's because I knew people needed help. But I also knew it wasn't going to be sustainable if I didn't put that structure in place. Now, one of those pieces of structure was to grow and allow the business to grow beyond me. And what does that mean? It means that I wasn't doing all the work. Okay, so ding, ding, ding. Most of you automatically are thinking, oh, yeah, I need to get a massage therapist too, so that I'm not doing all the work. Well, there's a big problem with that if that's your reliable structure, because it's not going to be reliable. It's not going to be reliable at all. Massage therapists come and go, they have their own personalities, and it's still dependent on them now in exchange for their money and time. So, what that means is that you're depending on somebody else to now bring in that income by doing the work. That doesn't really replace you. That's not building wealth beyond the table. So one of the structures that I really needed to make sure that I put into place was finding something that was going to help me and my clients with their longevity, that was going to be able to move outside of even my practice. Now, most of us, when we think about that structure and we think about the services of not having to have hands on, what do? We typically think red light therapy because then we can just put them in a room. We don't have to work with them. The light does its own thing, but they're still taking up space. And it's still $1,000, it's several $1,000s pieces of equipment. And then what does a massage therapist do? They might go and get another piece of equipment that works where somebody's having to hold a device with a client. Or we add different modalities. Those are all fun things to do. Those are all things to expand the experience for our client and ourselves, but they still require our time, energy, effort, and money. So I want to pause here for a second because I want to pull up some notes. And I wanted to take some notes because my husband was so on point this morning. And much of it is because he's lived with me. He understands and has watched from a distance as he's watched his wife build 7 successful practices. Now, here's the thing that he is noticing even more now is that I was able to build that beyond the table. So I want you to think about how much money you're making at the cost of your own body. And hey, that's all good. That is absolutely perfect. I love doing it as well. But now what he's seeing is that I'm doubling that resource. that I'm bringing in financial wealth with greater ease and comfort, and I'm not having to open up. Now, don't get afraid. Don't be afraid of what I'm saying here. I'm not saying you have to close down your practice and do anything else. The structure has to include both of them running side by side so that you're not so fragile. When it comes to our rent, when it comes to our expenses, most therapists think they have a client problem, but they don't. What they actually are experiencing and actually have is a fragility problem. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it, just like it was for me. Right? So I sold that last practice. When I went into that next to the last practice that I had, I saw it. I couldn't unsee it. And that helped me with building even bigger beyond the table. I'm pausing for a minute because I've had a memory come up for me. Because I remember being book solid, full schedule. So full we had a waiting list, having to get other therapists to fill in. I had 6 rooms at the time. So, what I was doing was going room to room. Finish up a client, go into a client, go into the next client. My staff was taking care of checking everybody out, rebooking them. I never handled any of that. And if you're a massage therapist, you understand what I'm talking about, because when we get into a massage and then we have to break that transition, right? So we're still feeling really good. We're in that flow, and then we have to start thinking about money. So that's why I hired an assistant, was because I understood that feeling. Now, a lot of the things I talk about in my book Solid, Still Broke, as well as Built to Hold, are my personal experiences that I got to reflect on, learn from, and understand in a deeper way. So what I'm saying is that when I came out of a massage and I would have to think about money, I would be kind of cloudy thinking. I'd be like, what am I doing? We got to talk about rebooking. But I was still in the room. I was still feeling the massage. So hiring somebody allowed me to stay in the flow of things, that I wasn't having to take care of everything. I didn't even have to take care of my laundry. I didn't even have to take care of making my table up. I had staff that did that for me. But my staff depended on me doing bodies so that then I had the resources to pay them. You understand what I'm saying here? Is that they had a motive to keep me busy. They did a great job at keeping me busy. And I used to kid around with them because they would say, they would ask me and they would look up to me, and I loved it. But I said, I think everybody needs to understand here right now, I work for you. I work for you. And we always had a good time with that. So I remember what it was like being booked solid with that full schedule. And I don't know if I ever felt drained at the end of the day. I felt excited about it, but I knew it wasn't sustainable. And I remember doing everything right, but I was still feeling the pressure in the background, just like I was saying a little bit ago. So when we think about it, let's put it into terms that can really paint this picture for you, because it's a reality, right? One cancellation can shift our day. And a slow week, man, that stress begins to creep in. And during the holidays, forget it. We always look forward to the holidays too, right? It's like, oh gosh, I look forward to taking off. I've been so busy. But then everything drops off. But what do? We sell gift certificates because everything has dropped off, and now we think we have money, but that is money that still comes due at a later time. So all of these things, they're not normal. We're normalizing them. So we've been taught if we're good, clients will come back. The reality of it is our clients have lives. People forget, time passes. Being great creates a moment, but it doesn't create continuity. Doesn't continue beyond. So when you think about what I'm saying, nothing is holding your business outside of you. If you're not working, nothing is moving. If you're not visible, you disappear. If there's no structure, you restart every single week. And that is what I was learning is I don't want to live this kind of life. I deserve better. I deserve more. And all of us do. Every single one of you do. But you've only been taught one way and how to do the business, and that's technique. That's body mechanics. Body mechanics is great. It's what keeps us flexible, but I can tell you when you get into your 70s, body mechanics is going to seem like a lot less important than it is of like, oh my God, what have I built? Haven't built anything beyond me. I don't have a retirement plan. And ladies, those of you that think, well, I've got a husband, I've got a retirement plan, I will tell you the God's honest truth here with this story is that there was a massage therapist who was in her 50s, thought that her and her husband were going to have an amazing life. He died at 56 years old and her world crumbled. So I want you, for those of you that are married, I want you to stop and think about it. If your husband died today, and insurance isn't going to last forever, what are you building that will sustain you if your husband died today? Would you be able to even stay in business? Really look at the numbers. How much is he helping you? Because does he pay your mortgage? Does he pay your utilities? Is he paying your car payment? Many massage therapists are building only to survive or to get to that next client. And I want so much for you. So that's the difference between working in your business and actually building one. And the moment that I realized this, everything changed. I stopped thinking about more clients. I started thinking about what holds this. I started building beyond the table. Not more work, but better structure. Now, for some of you, this isn't going to resonate, right? Because of either a mindset or I know how to do it better than you. And I want to share something with you real quick regarding that. Now, mind you, I've had 7 beautiful, beautiful clinics that I have sold, allowed other people to operate them, and they're still operating them. They're still growing because of the structure that I built. Now, some of them chose not to do the other structure part of it, and they're going to learn the hard way that they didn't really build anything that was beyond them because they chose to do it all themselves. They chose to, and I've had one of them do this, is that I'm going to do all this by myself and I'm going to take all the money. What do you think happened? Well, she burned out. She blew her back out. And then she had to go to work for somebody else. She did sell the clinic and that person took over, but the one piece that they're all missing is that they're only seeing themselves at the table, not beyond the table. So I understand that some of you, this isn't going to resonate with, because when we get locked in, we get locked in. This is the way I've been taught to do it. This is the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it work. And we do make it work. And there are a lot of therapists out there right now, whether you're a massage therapist, clinical wellness practitioner, integrative medicine, believe it or not, they're suffering too, is that they're accepting that suffering and saying, well, this will eventually work out. But guys, have you not been paying attention? Prices are going up. People are tighter in their pocket. They're looking at ways to have that health and wellness without you. That hits hard, doesn't it? Because I went to school. I'm really good at what I do. I love what I do. I want this for myself. But things are beginning to shift. So if this hits, great. It's supposed to. Because once you see it, you cannot go back to pretending it's just about more clients. And it's also not about getting more therapists to hire or to have more clients. There's another way to build this, and it starts with seeing your business clearly. Like I've said, and I'll say it again, most therapists aren't missing skill. They're missing something that holds. So I'm recording this today because many therapists continue to repeat it over and over and over again. And if they're repeating it over and over again, they're thinking this is that all I need are more clients. When that's actually not the problem. So I welcome you. I welcome you to reach out to me. I welcome you to have a discussion with me. I welcome you to say, Dr. Velvet, I may not be interested in this, but I'm open-minded enough to hear what you have to say because you said some really strong things. And many of them don't reach out until they have an accident and they can't do massage because they've broken their wrist. Many of them don't reach out until they have a back issue and they've gone months without doing massage. Then they reach out. But why not reach out now when you can begin to build it while you're healthy, while you're well, while there's no stress? Why not reach out while you're enjoying your massage clients, but have something on the side that adds them greater value, greater benefit, and also helping you, not short term, but long term. I have faith in you guys. I have the greatest hope. And trust me, there's been times I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? What message is not getting through? And then I back myself up and realize, hey, I was just like them. I was taught one way, thought I knew it all, and it wasn't until I was able to step back and see my lack of structure, that it wasn't going to hold me, that I knew I needed something different. And so much so that that is what allowed me to retire. That structure that I have put into place has allowed me to have a life of true freedom. Many of us go into massage because, like, oh, great, I'm never going to have to work for anyone else ever again. I get to work when I want and I don't have to work when I want. But that's the issue, right? That is the issue because as soon as you open up your clinic, you realize that you're working for someone. You're not working for yourself. You're now working for the rent. You're working for the utilities. You're working for the client. You're working for your staff. You're working for your sheets and your supplies. Have you really ever really tracked that? Like when I tracked that, I was like, what am I doing? And so many of you say, but I'm still broke. Well, that's why. It's because you're not tracking your business and you get a little money in and you think you have that to pay a utility or whatever, and then there's nothing left at the end of the week, the month, or the year. And some of you may, right? You're doing something right, but let me ask you this. Is it a strong enough structure that if you had to pull away, that you would be able to live 10 years or beyond in that state? Because that's really what we're looking at. I was having a conversation with a gentleman that was interested in what I was doing. And he said, well, you know, with everything that's going on and all of our expenses, I have to make a minimum of $1 million a year. Now, he was a big investor, he was a business developer, a real estate developer. So I'm sure they had big expenses. But have you really looked at what it's going to cost you to live if you weren't doing massage? And if you think that Social Security is going to do it for you, got another thing coming there. Here's something I want all of you to know as insider information, is that when you go on Medicare, and let's say that you're 65 years old now, you are required to have Medicare, right? You're on Social Security, you're required to have Medicare. And every pay increase that you get, Medicare goes up. So you may be thinking that you're getting a raise, but you are not. You're going to have a decrease or maybe even the same level. But most of the time, it reduces the amount of money that seniors are getting in. And so you may be thinking, well, that's okay because there's Medicaid. Do you really want to live that way? That's the question you have to ask yourself, is do I want to live where I'm now dictated where I have to go, where I've got to be? And if something happens, do I really want to go to the pain and suffering of being denied everywhere I go? Because there's a lot of doctors that aren't even taking Medicaid anymore. Nobody has to do anything for you, but there's a lot that we have to do for others. Like Medicaid doesn't have to even take you. So who's going to take care of you? It's time for us to kind of wake up and think about our future and think about the quality of life we want. You look at my property, my home, and everything that I have built, you'd sit back there and you'd scratch your head like, well, she must have something special. She must have had a husband that did this, that, or the other thing for her. No, my husband and I were talking about that this morning. And I said, just look at our life and all of the things that massage has done for us. And he said, I want to remind you of something. The reason that we have the quality of life that we do is because you're smart and you built structure. And that you had a solid foundation. And that when you felt shaky, you would pull back and you would look at what's not working for you and you would build around it. Isn't that beautiful that my husband was able to edify me in that way, that I wasn't seeing it that way? And in that moment, I think I fell in love with him all over again. And I felt excited, even more excited for our future and what we're going to build together. So are you excited for your future? Or are you just living day to day, hoping that things are going to be okay? Like I said, this isn't going to be for everyone. This is going to be for the people who are tired of working and not seeing a result of leverage. This is going to be for the person who says, you know what, I need to build something alongside of me so that I have a foundation if something happens to me. I'm going to give you one last example and then I'm going to let you go if you haven't already turned me off. So in my last practice, booming, booming, booming. We had 3 rooms in one building, and all 3 of us were staying busy. And then I had a friend that got severely ill. We found him in the hospital, complete organ failure, and he was getting ready to die. My husband and I decided that we were going to help him. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, what about your clients? I already had other people to take care of them, but I had already started building something alongside of me that if something happened, my clients were being taken care of. That didn't require staff. So I pulled back. My clients continued to be my clients. I was continuing to make money without ever stepping foot into my clinic. And I did step foot into my clinic. I didn't have to stay with our friend. My husband did. But then it came a time I had to help my husband out. So I was somewhat part-time at the clinic, part-time at the hospital, and then pretty much full-time operating the farm and the land and the house and the animals. I was coming home every night by myself. And a couple of months into this, and I wasn't paying attention to it, a couple of months into taking care of him, I thought, oh my gosh, I haven't checked out my income. And I opened up my office, and there was all this money that was sitting there. And I was like, how did that happen? I'm not doing anything. I'm not promoting anything. I'm not working with anybody. How did that happen? How did it happen? I built leverage. I had other therapists that didn't work for me. They were working with themselves with me. So if you want to be a partner with me, if you want me to show you the structure, if you want me to show you how you can earn extra money alongside of what you're doing, not to replace it. Let's not think about that right now. It's not to replace it. It's to get you excited of what extra you can have coming in without these, building that wealth beyond the table. I'm excited to talk with you. So look me up. Let's get you on a call. My website is drvelvetthemetaphysician.com. There's some information there. You can kind of click around. Let's get excited about this together. Let's get excited about our new future. Let's not worry about all of the things that we don't have control over, but let's think and focus on the things that we do have control. All right. So as always, love you bunches, and I do look forward to hearing from you. Take care.